there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Get Your Ass Up and Move Fitness and Nutrition podcast. I am your host, Peter Gay Barrett with Barrett Fitness. And on this podcast, we discuss fitness, nutrition, overall health, and overall well-being. I have my good YouTube friend here from across the waters, Mr. Gerald. Welcome to the podcast, Gerald.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. I am doing great. I am doing awesome. So Gerald is a personal trainer and medic. So tell us, where are you joining us from today, Gerald?
Yeah, I'm basically based in Uganda, East Africa, and basically we call my country the Pearl of Africa. So it basically has all the good things that you want to see in Africa. And it's called Uganda, located in the east of Africa, and that's where I hail from.
Okay, so you hail from the eastern part of Africa, the country of Uganda.
Exactly.
Awesome. I love it, love it, love it. So today's topic of discussion, you guys, we will be talking about the causes, the risk factors, and treatment of kidney disease. So kidney disease is going to be the topic of discussion: causes, risk factors, treatments. And we chose this topic because Mr. Gerald is a medic, and he focuses on patients with kidney disease and treatment. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Gerald, and what do you do over there with kidney disease and dialysis and so forth in your country?
So basically, I'm a graduate from the university with a bachelor's degree in nursing science, but I decided to put much more my interest in nephrology, which is basically a branch in medicine that deals with people with a kidney problem and such kind of stuff, if you know what I'm saying. And that's what I basically do. So I deal with patients with kidney problems and treatment, of course. And like she said, we're going to be talking about the treatment and all that kind of stuff. But minus that, I'm so passionate about nutrition, fitness, and that's what I do outside my medical stuff. So that's it, basically.
Okay, so you're a personal trainer and nutrition specialist on the side.
Exactly.
Which plays a great role in preventing or really mainly preventing kidney disease, right? Without diet and nutrition, I mean, that's probably one of the causes. So what made you wanting to go into that direction, with your studies and, your work? What made you wanting to kind of focus and niche down on kidney disease and treatment and management of it?
I basically don't know, because when I was still in medical school, like as we were studying in school, I picked so much interest in nephrology or stuff that deals with kidneys, and I paid more attention to it. I just enjoyed reading it and talking about it and such kind of stuff. So when I finished school, then I got a chance to be able to deal with these patients, treat them, interact with them. So basically for me, it's not just a profession, but it's just a passion of dealing with such kind of patients.
Yes, and that's so important, right? When we go into these fields, especially when it comes to helping people, you got to be passionate about it, right?
Exactly.
Because people can see that. So let's talk about a couple of statistics here in the U.S., because I know U.S. is one of the leading, countries with kidney diseases and the causes and the risk factors. So check this out, Gerald. 1 in 3 Americans, 1/3 of all Americans are at risk for kidney disease. 1 in 7 Americans have kidney disease. That's 15% of our population, which is 37 million people in this country actually have kidney disease, right? Only 2 out of 5 of those people know that they have kidney disease. I mean, these numbers are, crazy when you think about it.
And they're so perturbing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're so perturbing, I mean.
It's ridiculous. So how is it in your country, and what are you seeing, as far as the rates and, just across the world, as I'm sure you probably, you would study more than I would.
Yeah, basically, it's the same problem in Africa. We see every day the numbers of these patients going down, going up, tripling, doubling every single day. For example, in my country, even like today it's a Monday, and I was running a renal clinic, what we call a kidney clinic for outpatients. Those patients just come in the clinic and then they go away, and the numbers are going high. And in Africa, it never used to be the case, but I think we have changed a lot, especially when it comes to our health, lifestyle, and such kind of stuff. And we are seeing these numbers shoot as we are going to see how stuff like diabetes and other health factors are so much of not paying attention to when it comes to kidney disease, because I understand there are so many other causes of kidney disease that maybe I'll just highlight a little bit of them, but then we are going to dwell so much on stuff that you can deal with, stuff that you can control, stuff that you have control over, because we know there are some other causes of kidney disease that you yourself as a person you have no control over.
Yes, true. So one important question before we start digging a little bit deeper into the causes and risk factors and so forth, can you tell us from your studies, how important is the kidney? What exactly does the kidney do to your, the role or the function of the kidney in your body?
Exactly, and most people will never know the function of their kidneys until they get sick.
Yeah.
Or is taken for granted, but they're just two bean-shaped organs that are just found in your abdomen. And let's just, if we look at the function of the kidney, one of them is excreting the waste products, because as we eat all this food, as the body is trying to metabolize it, work on this food, it produces waste products, and all these waste products are excreted by the kidney. So the kidney has a big role to play when it comes to excretion of all these waste products. Let's talk about food balance. I mean, as you take in water, you don't know what happens to the water that you have taken, but it's just the role of the kidney to make sure that there's food balance across your entire body. Let's talk about stuff like osmoregulation. Let's talk about stuff like electrolytes, sodium, phosphorus, calcium. All these keep in balance in your body. It's the role of the kidney. And let's talk about stuff like making your blood. So kidney is interesting. It's important in the production of a certain hormone that is important in the production of your blood, and it's called erythropoietin. So when you get sick, you want to be able to produce this erythropoietin, and we see this in patients who get sick and they get super anemic. So it's important in the production of your blood. So there's so many functions of the kidneys. I mean, the moment you get to know the function of the kidney, then you will learn how to protect your kidney so that it keeps
right. Right, that's right. So let's talk about the risk factors, because I think this is probably one of the biggest things, in addition to knowing the role of the kidney, is knowing how to prevent kidney disease. What do you think are some of the biggest culprits of kidney disease?
So, one, let's look at the kidney getting sick. We have stuff that injure the kidney direct. Then there's kidney problem coming as a result of, it's a complication of something else. Mm-hmm. So we are going to break it in that way. But let's just look at the general factors. For example, look about stuff like severe hypertension. If you're hypertensive, you're going to end up with kidney failure. I'll try to explain how it happens, but then you can have your hypertension for 10 years, 15 years down the road, and you end up with kidney failure. About stuff like severe dehydration, people don't want to drink water. We always tell people, guys, drink water. So severe dehydration, an injury or kidney disease, it does, and we've seen this. And if you want to demonstrate this, patients who go through a lot of vomiting and diarrhea, these patients, they lose a lot of water and go in shock and end up with kidney failure. Let's talk about stuff like smoking. Smoking is one of the major risk factors for kidney disease. Let's look at diabetes. Diabetes is like the leading cause of kidney disease in the world right now. We call diabetic kidney disease. Scientists were able to even get a name for it, diabetic kidney disease. Okay. I said benign prostate hyperplasia. Basically, your prostate gland starts enlarging. So basically, it starts blocking the way the urinary tract and other kind of stuff and causes problems to the kidneys. There's some that actually cause kidney problems. Let's talk about NSAIDs, ibuprofen, diclofenac, all these over-the-counter drugs that you're ever taking when you have simple pain that doesn't even require any kind of medication. All these drugs have effect on your kidneys.
And I would say, and I don't know if, I'm sure you probably would agree with me, diabetes and hypertension, high blood pressure that you talk about, those are controllables. I mean, in 90% of the cases, those are things that we can control, right? Drinking water, right? Like, and you're going to become dehydrated. And one of the functions of the kidney is to rid the toxins from your body. Drinking the water help the body and help the kidney to flush out the toxins of the body. Absolutely. So they work hand in hand with each other, right? You are giving your kidney a fighting chance of survival. It's like your workhorse. Next to your heart, in my opinion, it's like the workhorse of your body. It's taking waste out. It doesn't matter how healthy you eat.
And for it, the kidney loves it when it is doing its work. Because as we see, I said it is important when it comes to food balance. And it's not going to balance food that you don't give the body, because 70% of our body mass is water. So it's better when it's actually filtering all that water and toxins. It's feeling better.
Yep. It's just simple drinking water, eating a balanced diet. Nobody's telling you guys that you have to, do what we do. You don't have to go in the gym for hours and hours and do these crazy exercises and crazy. Just balance it out, man. A little bit of exercise. And nobody's not saying like, oh, you can't eat, a little junk and a little treat here or there. It's just all about balance. So what is the difference between kidney disease and kidney failure? Does it start with just the kidney malfunctioning a little bit and then it get to a point where it's just kidney failure? Like how would you describe that process?
Yeah, like you said, they are different. For example, there's a difference between an infection and a disease.
Right.
Let's take it easier. When you have HIV, you have an infection. You're able to walk around with it and no problem. But the moment you get AIDS, that's a disease. The same as kidney. When you have kidney disease, it's okay. I mean, you're able to do your activities of daily living. Yes, you're with your kidney disease and you're receiving treatment, but you're not hospitalized. Basically, your kidney hasn't failed. And for us in our department or in that branch of medicine, there's a way how we categorize our patients. And especially we tend to stage them. For example, there is one stage of kidney disease, stage 1, 2, 3, up to 4. And then there's what we call end-stage renal disease or end-stage kidney disease. I'm saying, and that's like the terminal end of like kidney disease. So like what I'm saying is, in stage 1 of your kidney disease, is you have normal function of the kidney almost. Your kidney is filtering very well, doing everything, but not up the optimum. And if you look at how we calculate that, there's something called estimated glomerular filtration rate, like the rate at which your kidney filters stuff. That's what we calculate on. And a normal kidney is supposed to do that at 90 mils per minute. You understand? So you should be able to make about 90 mils of a filtrate within 1 minute. So some patients are able to make that, but then their kidney is not functioning well. And how do we tell that? Is there some markers that we look at to know that your kidney is functioning? And one of them is, like I told you, we look at the function of the kidney, if it's able to do certain functions. And one of them is excretion of waste products. As long as your kidney is not excreting the wastes, these wastes are going to accumulate in your bloodstream. So the moment you test your blood and for these waste products, we are going to find them high in numbers in your blood. And now your kidneys are failing.
So then once your kidney are at that stage where your kidney has failed, can one recover from kidney failure? Or what's the end result of that? How do you fix that?
This is what I say is sometimes you have a progressive deterioration of your kidney function, what we call acute kidney failure or injury, where the cause of the problem has happened in the space of days to weeks.
Okay.
That's absolutely reversible because we see the causes of those that problem. As long as you remove the offending agent, your kidney is able to recover. So it's like you've wounded the kidney and then you give it time to heal and then it heals back. But then I told you, we have that problem, what we call the chronic kidney disease, where there is a gradual progression of the disease that you yourself are unable to tell and has been happening over the years, over many, many months, that whatever happened to your kidney is irreversible. You understand? Mm-hmm. So the stages I'm trying to explain to you that your kidney has started failing, but it's now at stage 1.
Right.
So ask the most important thing to us when you come to us, and that's why I told you is you have normal urine output. So unless you go to the hospital, you will never know that your kidneys are failing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The patients who come to the hospital that already past that stage of failure is that they are now hospitalized, they need hospitalization. They have symptoms. But if you're someone who often visits the hospital, who often goes for your medical checkup, maybe you're able to detect your problem at stage 1. And if you detect it at stage 1, for us, our role as medics is to slow down the progression of that disease.
So at what stage does dialysis come in, Gerald? At what stage does you in that field as a medic decide that the patient needs dialysis? At what stage in the kidney disease process?
So when you reach stage 3 of the disease, that's when your glomerular filtration rate has gone to below 60 mils per minute. So we start having discussions over dialysis because where we are going is not good. We're going to reach at a point where you completely are going to have total kidney failure, or what I called end-stage renal disease, where your kidney has actually now failed from the disease to the failure now. Failure means it's unable to do almost anything. So when you look at the kidney function, you look in terms of percentages. You understand? So at the 90 minutes I was saying, you can put it, your kidney is still working at 90%. When you go to 60, your kidney is working at 60%. When you go to 40 minutes, your kidney is working at 40%. And stage 5 is where your kidneys are working below 15%.
Below 15%. Oh.
At 15%, there's nothing else that we have to do other than initiating you on dialysis.
So tell us, Gerald, what role does nutrition play in preventing kidney disease? What role would you say nutrition plays?
So let's look at we looked at diabetes, like one of the greatest risk factors. It's actually no longer a risk factor, it's now an etiology, it's part of the causes.
That's right, yes.
Factor that causes, it's one of the causes of kidney disease. But then like nutrition is not just only for prevention, but like in the direct management of the patient. And like I told you, like what we always call micronutrients in nutrition and wherever, when it comes to us the medics, these things become so important, so big. We no longer look at them as micronutrients. We no longer look at potassium as a micronutrient, calcium, phosphorus, because these are the things that determine the prognosis of a patient. If the patient is going to progress soon, get well soon, or the patient is going to deteriorate and die.
Right.
They are potassium, they are calcium, they are phosphorus, because it was previously being done by the kidney, now the kidney is unable. So you have to control them. 1, through dietary. That's number 1. The number 2 is nutrition. So you have to be looking at the sodium. I didn't talk about the role of the kidney in regulating your sodium. Very, very, very vital. Very, very important. If you get what I'm saying. So for example, let's look at diabetes as one of the major causes of kidney disease. And we all know that what happens in diabetes is you have hyperglycemia or high blood sugar and insulinemia. Those are 2 most important things when it comes to diabetes. Because we all know that our bodies need sugar.
Of
So
course.
every living cell uses glucose.
That's right.
Living cell
We need it.
uses glucose.
Mhm.
But your body has its mechanism on how to control whether it is too much or too low, and function when it is too much or when it is too low. So it has its own mechanism on how to balance the blood sugar. But this is the problem is, so I'll talk about hyperinsulinemia in the first place, is every time you eat glucose, your body tends to pump out this hormone insulin, trying to balance your blood sugar. It doesn't want your blood sugar to go high, because when it goes so high, your body cannot function very well.
Yeah.
Body tries to do something about the blood sugar. But like we always say, there's this saying, I don't know if you have that side, that too much of anything is always bad.
Yep. When we say too much of, where I'm from in Jamaica, we say too much of anything is good for nothing. That's what we say in Jamaica.
So what happens is, you've been eating for many, many years, since childhood, having your ice cream, wine, burgers and everything, and you're now 30 years old. So your body has been trying so hard to make sure that this glucose keeps in check for 30 years. You understand? But the problem is that every time your body finds its glucose very high, that dietary glucose coming being very high, is it reaches at a point where the receptors, especially for insulin, don't work. I mean, what happens is you pump up all this sugar into your blood, which at a point you've been eating your, let's say, your burger and it's fine. You don't feel anything. This time you eat your burger and your blood sugar shoots over the roof. Your body has no control over it. It has basically told you that I've failed. This is the point which I've failed. But I also want you to make it clear that we have types of diabetes. We have type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. So what I'm trying to talk about, I'm basically trying to talk about type 2 diabetes, because type 1 diabetes, it's the opposite of type 2. So in type 1, you basically need the insulin. Your body is unable to produce the insulin.
Yes, and usually people are born with that, right?
Yeah, so you have a problem with the production of your insulin from the pancreas, and you have no control. So there are so many things that can cause that, and you end up with type 1 diabetes. But also, if it's type 1, we see it at an early onset in your childhood. That is maybe below 25 years. Yeah. And also, presentation tends to be different. So in this case, you actually need more insulin. But to diabetes, what happens is your body is producing the insulin, but the insulin is unable to work. It has no sensitivity where it has supposed to work. So what happens is, now every time you eat sugar is just floating in your bloodstream. It has nowhere to go. And your body cannot function when your sugar is very high.
Right. And 3, put your kidney where it's overworking to break down the toxin that this medication caused. Now you have 2 things working against your kidney, right? The diabetes and the medication that you're taking, right? So,
absolutely.
But there are also studies to show that just making changes depending on what level of diabetes you have, just making simple lifestyle changes can reverse your diabetes. If you go to the doctor and you find out, oh, you know, especially like pre-diabetic, you can reverse that. I'm not saying it's easy, but you can definitely reverse pre-diabetes and diabetes in most cases by lifestyle changes. Changing the food that you eat and getting some exercise. And so that's the next question as we wrap up here. What role do you think exercising in general play in helping to prevent these chronic diseases that lead?
And actually, the most important way that exercise plays is increasing your insulin sensitivity. Prevention of all this. We understand there are so many benefits of exercise, but when it comes to chronic disease, especially diabetes, it majorly increases your insulin sensitivity. So if insulin insensitive, your sensitivity is going to increase again, and you'll be able to drive your glucose back into the cells for use. Because like we said, exercise is a very demanding thing. You need glucose to use.
Yeah.
Understand? So basically, the body has to do so much to provide you with glucose. So basically, you're having your your insulin sensitivity tripled over the roof as you exercise. And as you improve your insulin sensitivity, you're using more glucose, and that's what the body loves to see you doing. That's where exercise comes in. And we always say this, like, you can't exercise out a bad diet and everything. So when you go and do exercise, burn all these calories, increase your insulin sensitivity, and then you come back home and then take all these empty calories.
Junk food, right?
Taken down
They can't just cancel each other out, right? Just cancel each other.
Understand? So you just canceling out each other.
Yep, you're right. And you're right. When people always say this, like, you can't outrun a bad diet or outwork out a bad diet. It is a fact. Just like what Gerald is saying. You just taught me something.
Exactly. So some people will be like, okay, I'm going to eat this and this. At the end of the day, I'll have to exercise. I'm going to go to the gym and do that. But that one will not automatically mean that your insulin sensitivity has improved.
Mm-hmm.
What is make sure that you're eating right what you're supposed to eat, but at the same time increasing your insulin sensitivity. And like when you look at insulin, I didn't want to discuss hormones so much, but it's hard to avoid them. When you look at insulin is what tells your body how much fat to store.
Okay, good.
You get what I'm saying? Insulin is what tells your body store this amount of fat. But then what tells your body where to store fat is your androgens, your hormones, your estrogen, your testosterone. For example, there's a reason why women will store more of their fat around their thighs. Yep. Women around their thighs and around their hips. Mm-hmm. That one is control over it because it's determined by your androgens, and that's your estrogen. And for us men, that's why women are gaining weight, trying to put on all that kind of weight. Their weight comes around their midsection, that's their belly, because that's what androgens do. But how much you store around your belly is mediated by a hormone insulin. That's what we need to know at the back of our mind. Every time we are telling people, you need to go low carb, you need to reduce on your starchy carbohydrates, we simply telling them, make sure that you have low sugar in your blood so that you don't have more insulin opening your door all the time. So that sensitivity.
Yep. Wow. I mean, thank you so much. This is just such an intriguing conversation. And I have to say, I always tell people I'm not a, medic, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but, I spend time to learn about nutrition and biology and how the body works, even in its simplest form. So I will know the things that I need to do that's going to give, me a fighting chance to prevent all these things, especially as we get older. You say we have no control over that, and could be one risk factor of diabetes, or not diabetes, but probably kidney disease, even just your heart. Like everything just kind of slows down, as you get older. And it's just always intriguing to me to have conversations with people like yourself.
Yeah, and exactly, you're right.
And how it works, right?
Yeah, and like how you're saying, even when you have a heart failure, one of its implications is kidney injury.
Mm-hmm,
so
yes.
Someone from getting heart disease by preventing them from getting hypertension and other kind of stuff. And all this happens when you're having a right diet.
That's right.
All this happens when you're eating right. That's where it starts from. And like I told you, kidney itself, we have intrinsic factors, all those diseases that make the kidney sick itself, like that. But that percentage is small.
Right.
Most of the patients we are seeing, they come to the hospital with kidney failure as a complication.
That's right. Yeah, of the lifestyle, right? And everything that we just mentioned: diabetes, obesity,
hypertension,
high blood pressure, high cholesterol. These are all the implication and risk factors of heart disease and kidney disease. And we can do, just listen to people
about it.
You don't have to know it in depth and know the biological terminologies or, some of the nutrition terms and stuff that we use. But sometimes it's just you eat something and you know it. Your body feels some type of way.
For example, if I'm cutting short, I want you to explain what happens in diabetic kidney disease. So because you have uncontrolled sugar for some time, what we call hyperglycemia, what happens is there's something we call advanced glycated end products. So these products, they come as a result of having proteins combined with fat and sugar without any chemical process or enzymatic process, and forming those products we call glycated products. So what happens with these products is they go and pose themselves around the kidney and kidney directly.
Wow.
So the best way you can control that is having normal blood sugars.
Yes.
I'm trying to say. So if I can repeat it again, is you have glucose that is so high in your blood protein, and it is combined with your protein that you have eaten, and then making one complex compound, and that compound is what damages the kidney directly. It's one of the mechanisms how diabetes actually causes kidney disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have one body, you guys, one body. That's all the Lord made us with, and it's up to us to protect it and take care of it, and just treat it as we should. And you get one. I mean, once your kidney fail, your kidney fail. That's it, right? Once your heart's gone. You don't have two hearts.
And this one makes me want to stress this. Some people, that's why I also disagree. Some people always say a calorie is just a calorie, and looking at a human body in terms of calories. And we're trying to tell you is your body does not know calories.
Nope.
Calories are a measure of.
That's right.
Simply a measure.
Yeah.
For example, we tell you that the way your body handles calories from broccoli, it's not the way it handles calories from a soda, from
right.
donut.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying to tell these people in the fitness world, that however much calories are important, but your hormones are the most important.
That's right.
Keep your weight off.
Right. And it's the type of calorie that you consume.
But also, appearance, body image might look healthy, but deep inside you're not healthy. For example, you having a six-pack, you having jacked arms, does not mean that you're healthy. There's a lot of stuff happening in your body that you have no control over, that you have control over, but you're not doing so.
Yes. And
I'm trying to come out and explain to you that a lot of these hormones, I mean, there are so many hormones. We talked about insulin, glucagon, leptin, ghrelin, all these hormones. That's so important to us. And they're what controls how our bodies are. And if you cannot optimize them, it's going to be hard for you to live a healthy life. So it's not like everybody who works out, everyone who goes to the gym, everyone who does A, B, and C are healthy. It doesn't mean so. We can only tell that when we do serum levels of, especially these hormones, when you do, for example, your fasting insulin, how are they? If your insulin is basically high all the time, and you do it like when you're fasting, it basically tells us that where you're going is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Have a normal fasting insulin level, but most people, because they are ever eating a high carbohydrate starchy meal, their fasting insulin levels are even ever high all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that one you can have it when you're even thinking that you're living a lifestyle, you're going to the gym, you're exercising, you're doing everything, but in actual sense, you're not actually healthy.
Yeah. It's I know someone who one would look at this guy and just think he's the healthiest person there is, jacked and just ripped and work out 10 times a week. I mean, sometimes you work out twice a day, and you look at him and, people would see him on social media and he had thousands of followers, and, someone that I know, and come to find out he died of heart disease. And what it was, he was taking all these supplements and all this protein powder and all these fake, foods or whatever. And, that's just a typical example. And even come to find, even his kidney was failing. Your body can't process all that crap. Your kidney can't filter out all this stuff, the rate that it's supposed to. But,
exactly.
So thank you, Geros.
So that's what we're trying, and that's what most people forget is every time someone thinks of living a healthy life, they think about going to the gym. That's what hits their head first, which is not, by the way.
Nope.
That's like 75, that's like 25%
exactly.
Or 20%. What you're supposed to focus on is how you're eating. And I always tell my clients that you didn't gain all that weight in the first place because you are not working out, simply because of what you are doing outside working out. So fix that before you even think about what.
Yep, and that's, I always say, Gerald, as you know, we wrap up here, is if I had to choose, and with my clients that I trained, you know, personal training or nutrition, if you had to choose between nutrition and exercise, it better be nutrition. That needs to be the key. If when you can say, no, I can't work out today, you do not need to say, oh, I can't eat right today. I've missed exercising for a month and you can get back into it. You don't need to go a whole month without, you know, eating properly. And, you know,
let's talk about it. Exercise wants to provide you with the stuff like antioxidants.
Exactly. That's right.
These are the things that fight cancer. That's
right.
And you will never get them from exercise. So
that's right. Oh my God.
Where are you going to get them from?
Yes, so I focus on nutrition, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, you know, just like the body of inflammation and toxins and, you know, phytochemicals that most people never talk about. I'm sure, you know, as a medic, you know about that. Going to the gym don't give you phytochemicals. Going to the gym don't give you fiber that's going to clean out your colon. I mean, these are the things that we just, you know, we don't know, we don't think about, and we see ripped, and that's all we want.
Because the most important thing exercise does, most people, is build muscle, make you get weight, and such kind of stuff. But then there's so many other things that your mental state.
It's important. Don't get us wrong, you guys. For those of you who are listening to us, it is important. But nutrition is number one.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm trying to explain. It's going to help you look good, improve your body image, improve your mental state, and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to longevity, how you're supposed to live and such kind of stuff, there's some things it cannot do.
That's right.
And that's why people keep telling you can't out-exercise a bad diet. Never. Yep.
And we could go on and on and on about this conversation. You and I will meet again next week, and we will focus on the nutrition aspect of preventing kidney disease and the risk factors and, you know, so forth. But thank you so much for this conversation, Gerald. I know I've learned a thing or two, you know, from you, and I appreciate that, and I'll use that in my day-to-day life and take that back to, you know, my clients. But tell us before we get off here, where can we find you? Someone who, you know, may have kidney disease or know someone or have a family member may want to reach out to you and ask a question. I know you and I connect on Instagram and on YouTube, which is where we met. Tell us, where can we find you?
Yeah, so basically you can find me almost on all social media. Geros Fitness is right here. Those ones who are watching. Geros Fitness, that is Geros Fitness. That is on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, other platforms. But as we wind up, there's something I wanted to say, that in the management of these patients, and these are things we are saying that you can't get from exercise. These are micronutrients. Your calcium, your potassium, your sodium, your phosphate. This, when it comes to the management of especially kidney disease, those are the most important things, and diet has a lot to do when it comes to these micronutrients. Your potassium, your phosphorus, your calcium, your sodium. And these are the markers that we look on and tell whether to do something about your health. Those are, when you come to the hospital, you see us ever removing blood and testing these things almost all the time.
And you said these are your potassium, your sodium, magnesium,
calcium, and phosphorus.
And phosphorus, oh, okay.
Phosphorus. And that's why I'm saying that is, it's very important to know them that we need them from diet. So if we are doing a kidney-friendly diet, because you realize as the kidney disease progresses and it's unable to control all these electrolytes, what we do is we're going to start restricting them from the diet. You don't want to take a diet that has this. You don't want to take a diet that has potassium. You don't want you to do this and this and this. Sometimes they have to even give you drugs that limit the absorption of these micronutrients from the foods that you're eating. So that's why it's very, very important to eat your food as if it's a medicine today. Because now, if you eat a whole day of potassium, your kidneys know how they are going to handle that potassium back where it's supposed to be. But the moment your kidneys get sick, the potassium gets out of hand, and you have to stop you from taking food that contain potassium. And to what you're going to maybe try to research about, like kidney-friendly diet, the recipes for patients who have kidney disease. Because we have many patients who are already hospitalized and they don't know what to eat. Doctors are telling them, don't eat potassium-containing foods. Don't eat a lot of sodium. Don't eat a lot of calcium, phosphorus. So they'll be confused. So what am I going to eat? How do I eat foods that contain potassium and other that don't contain potassium? So now that's the most important, like as some of us who have a nutritional background of it, that we need to do and help our patients, especially putting all these recipes out there for people to see. Internet, everywhere, YouTube, be able to see all these recipes because people are just confused. Doctors are, don't eat this, don't eat it, has potassium, so what should I eat?
Or what do I eat, right? Even as nutrition specialists, we do that too. Oh, cut this out of your diet, cut that out of your diet. But I try to make a focus to tell people, what do you replace it with? If you're going to become vegan, that's okay. Don't get me wrong.
Perfect.
I'm an advocate of that.
So,
how are you going to get your protein? Where are you going to get it from? That's what I focus on.
For example, and as I wonder, for example, I'll tell you, a plant-based protein source has been done, and observational studies actually show that a plant-based protein is good for patients who have kidney disease. Mm-hmm. So if we are trying, and that's why most patients, we need to help our patients a lot because they don't know all this information. It's up to us to disseminate this,
to educate them,
put it in their range to be able to access that. You understand? So one of the tasks that you have is to look for those kidney-friendly diets and be able to do those recipes. You can do this. I'm just giving you ideas. Yeah. Putting them out there and for people to access.
Yep. So I got you on the next interview. I will have my kidney-friendly diets, kidney-friendly recipes, kidney-friendly meals, because I'm sure I always say, Gerald, if we touch one person with these conversations, our mission is accomplished, because maybe that one person touch another person, right? We're not here, I know I'm not here to make millions of dollars off of it. My first goal is to educate people. And then, hey, if the fame and the money come with it, then, that is great. But people don't talk about these things enough, in my opinion, on the level, especially that you are talking about it from medical experience, right? But again, we will find you on social media, Geros Fitness. For those of you guys who will be watching this on YouTube, I will put his link in the description. You can click on his link, find him on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, Geros Fitness. So thank you, Gerald. Thank you for being our guest. We'll see each other again next week. It was a pleasure having you as my guest today.
A pleasure too.
I'll see you. All righty, you guys. Well, thank you all for joining us. Again, my name is Peter Gay Barrett with Barrett Fitness, and you can find me on all the social media platforms. Thank you guys for those of you who've come through for me on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it, you guys. That's where we can put all these long form conversations. You guys can go and listen to whatever section of it that you choose to do, but go ahead and subscribe to our channels and follow us and share us with someone who may want to find out this information. But until next time, you guys, Gerald and I, we are out.